In today's video, we'll be talking about Sony quietly releasing a brand new PlayStation 4 Pro console. It's not doing anything crazy, however, it looks to be a little bit quieter. Also, GameStop is prepping up a pretty significant sale for their Pro subscribers. It's yet another Pro Day sale. This one will cover a span of a couple days instead of being exclusive to one day, so you'll have a little bit more time to pick up what you want. Also, PlayStation Now is getting some refinement, so I want to take a look at that. As they've recently introduced some games being downloadable, PlayStation Now is becoming a better and better buy. We've got a little bit of information on the Final Fantasy VII Remake, and it might be possible that some of the other titles in that Final Fantasy VII universe may be included in the remake. Nothing was confirmed, but Tetsuya Nomura did speak at an event, and I want to go over what he said. And speaking of Square Enix, they have reported a huge revenue loss, so I want to take a look at that and their reasoning to this loss. That's very unfortunate news, but on the other side, Square Enix has expanded recently, and we talked about that yesterday, so while they are losing some money, hopefully in the future they can recover. More on that at the end of this video. First up, Sony has released a brand new PlayStation 4 Pro console, and it's model CUH7200. Now, this was pointed out by Digital Foundry, and it looks like this console is exclusive to the UK right now, and with the Red Dead Redemption 2 bundle. So what does this model do better than other models? Well, it doesn't really change anything performance-wise, however, it does look like it's a lot quieter. That's actually a significant adjustment, because I don't know if you guys are aware of playing some of the games on the PlayStation 4 Pro. A launch unit of the PlayStation 4 Pro could get very, very loud, especially if you're playing more intensive games like a God of War and an Assassin's Creed Origins. That console just got super, super loud, and a more quiet PlayStation 4 Pro console is definitely welcome. It begs the question, when will this be integrated into North America? But I imagine if they've already got the model ready to be released in the UK, it'll come over stateside, hopefully before the year's out, and hopefully if any of you guys are looking to pick up a console this holiday season, you will be getting the new CUH7200 model. Let us know if any of you guys have the console and if you've noticed any differences. Definitely interested to hear your guys' input on that. Moving on from that, GameStop will be kicking off yet another Pro Day sale very soon, specifically on November 9th, and it'll be running until November 11th. Now, this is ahead of Black Friday, but looking at the deals so far, a lot of them are on par with the Black Friday offerings based on the Target ad we've seen so far, and some of the deals actually beat out what Target's offering on Black Friday, so I want to take a look at some of the deals that will be available. Now, you do have to be a Pro member. I believe it's $15 a year, and you get some added benefits if you are a consistent GameStop shopper. Some of the deals that they will have available: God of War will be 25% off for $29.99. Remember that it just had its retail price marked down to $39.99. Target will have this one for $24.99, so this is one where Target will have them beaten out. However, one deal that GameStop will be ahead is the fact that Detroit Become Human will be 50% off for just $19.99. I think that's a great deal on Detroit. I can see why some gamers would be apprehensive about picking that game up at $59.99, but now at $19.99, I see it as a very, very good pickup. Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Complete Edition is $19.99. That's its usual price. How about this, though? Middle-earth Shadow of War is down to a measly $9.99. That is an incredible deal on Shadow of War. I would highly, highly recommend Middle-earth Shadow of War at that price point. It's a high-quality game that has gotten better since its original release. At release, it did have some criticism with its microtransactions. That has all been removed, and the game has gotten better since its launch. Some other deals include Mafia 3 for $13.19, Ni no Kuni 2 Revenant Kingdom for $19.99, Bioshock the Collection for $14.99, The Evil Within 2 for $14.99, Wolfenstein 2 The New Colossus for $14.99. Now, those $14.99 deals for The Evil Within 2 and Wolfenstein 2 The New Colossus, that's the same deal that Target will be having, so if you are a Pro subscriber, that's definitely not a bad deal. The recently released Mega Man 11 will be 33% off for $19.99. Thoroughly enjoyed my time with that. If you want a classic Mega Man experience that is also modernized to an extent, that's definitely a good buy. Monster Hunter World will be down to $24.99. Great pickup on that. And there will be a bunch of other deals. So if you are a Pro subscriber, the Pro Day sale is definitely something to take advantage of, especially because a lot of these deals will be equivalent to what you will be seeing at Black Friday. Moving on from that, PlayStation Now has gotten a couple new updates, including a couple new games joining the lineup, and those games being the aforementioned Mafia 3 and Steep. Now, if you don't know, PlayStation Now also recently added a download function, so you can download a bunch of the games. You can't download the PlayStation 3 games, unfortunately, and the PlayStation 3 games are really the reason to sign up in my eyes. However, they do have a vast lineup of PlayStation 4 games as well, around 230, and that's a lot. And all of the PS2 games as a part of the service are downloadable, as well as a part of the PS2 on PS4 program. And again, with Mafia 3 and Steep being added, now is not a bad time to start your PlayStation Now subscription. It is somewhat comparable to Xbox's Game Pass at this point. However, Game Pass is just $9.99 a month. PlayStation Now is quite a bit more expensive at $19.99 a month. That's still a little bit steep of a price point for a subscription service because especially with the majority of the games, there are 700 games available, and again, only 230 are downloadable. The rest of them, you will have to stream them, but there are some fantastic PlayStation 3 games in there, as well as some of the best exclusives released on that console. Ratchet & Clank, Infamous, a lot of games that haven't been ported over to the PlayStation 4 as well. I believe the first Ni no Kuni is still in there as a part of the streaming program, and I thought the first Ni no Kuni was better than the second, so there are a lot of good games there. It just would be incredible if we could download all of the PS3 games as well. Hopefully when the PlayStation 5 comes to fruition, PlayStation 3 games are playable on that console, and PlayStation Now allows all games to be downloadable. At that point, I could see this service really taking off. Speaking of taking off, I think a game that so many of us want to see take off in development is the Final Fantasy VII Remake. However, Square Enix is busy at work wrapping up Kingdom Hearts 3, and that goes for director Tetsuya Nomura as well. After he finishes up Kingdom Hearts 3, the majority of his attention will be focused on the Final Fantasy VII Remake. However, one interesting thing to note about Final Fantasy VII is that there are a lot of other games attached to the overarching narrative of FF7. This includes Dirge of Cerberus Final Fantasy VII, but probably most important, Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII, a fantastic PlayStation Portable exclusive that starred Zack Fair, who was also an integral part of Final Fantasy VII's main story, but they more so allude to him in FF7, and there is a quick scene with him, but he is the main character in Crisis Core, and Crisis Core is a very emotional tale that if you're a fan of the FF7 story, you really have to play that as well to get the full impact of Final Fantasy VII's narrative. So Tetsuya Nomura talked about that at a recent event celebrating the release of The World Ends With You Final Remix on the Nintendo Switch, and he did say there are ideas being thrown around that the compilation games would be included with the remake. I would love if Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core is included with the Final Fantasy VII Remake. I just think that's a tall order to ask for all of that. First of all, remaking Final Fantasy VII from the ground up and doing it on the PlayStation 4, that's a big ask already, and we know that Square Enix has talked about the game being released episodically, and then you throw Crisis Core in there as well. Are we just gonna split the Final Fantasy VII narrative into like 4 or 5 different games? At that point, I don't know if that's the best idea, but I definitely want to experience Crisis Core alongside the Final Fantasy VII Remake. I do think if it was released episodically as 3 separate games, I think people would still end up buying it just because this would be so anticipated, and Final Fantasy VII is literally one of the most iconic games that has ever been released in gaming, so I think the anticipation would still be there. Let's just hope the Final Fantasy VII Remake does release in the next 10 years or so, because with Square Enix, you really never know, and at this point, I'm questioning whether or not Final Fantasy VII, the remake, is going to be a PlayStation 4 title. The PlayStation 5 is probably due out by 2020. I doubt this remake is released in 2019, because again, Kingdom Hearts 3 will be released in 2019. Square Enix releasing 2 major JRPGs in the same year, I think that is never going to happen, unfortunately. So the earliest I see us getting this remake is 2020, and at that point, would it be a PS5 game? All questions that need to be answered, and unfortunately, I don't have the answers for them at this point. Lastly, speaking of Square Enix, they have unfortunately taken a huge $33 million loss, and this comes from creating Luminous Productions, which was originally created to create big video games, but also projects like videos and movies, and now they have changed scaled, and they've said that it'll concentrate on large-scale, high-quality AAA game titles, which best leverage Luminous's strength. This change has cost Square Enix 3.73 billion yen, which roughly equates to around $33 million, so a significant loss for them. Square Enix has made a lot of blunders in terms of game development in recent years. You can go back to the development of Final Fantasy 15, the long development time of Kingdom Hearts 3. These games are very expensive to produce. Hopefully, at some point in my lifetime, Square Enix can get back to a consistent program of releasing games consistently, releasing quality games consistently, because there was a time we were getting Final Fantasy 6, then we got Final Fantasy 7 not too long after, then we got FF8, then we got FF9, then we got FF10, and I think things went awry with FF12, and then of course FF13 took a long time, and then FF15 took forever, and Kingdom Hearts 3 has taken a long time, Final Fantasy 7, the remake, has taken a long time. Of course, these are very ambitious projects, but other studios are putting out ambitious projects, and they're doing it in a way that works with them financially, so why can't Square Enix get it done? This isn't really a sector of gaming I'm experienced with. I just hope that Square Enix will get back on track, and their Western department is usually on point. They've released Tomb Raider games consistently, but now with Shadow of the Tomb Raider, that hasn't done all too well commercially, so it's really a double-edged sword. Again, let's just hope Square Enix figures everything out. And that's gonna conclude this video. Again, Sony has stealth released a brand new PlayStation 4 Pro model. It looks to be a bit quieter than existing models. Let us know if you got your hands on one. Also, GameStop will be running a Pro Days sale from November 9th to November 11th. A lot of great deals as a part of that if you are a Pro subscriber. PlayStation now has continued to make some moves. Mafia 3 and Steep have joined the lineup, and of course they are offering 230 PlayStation 4 games for download right now, and all of the PS2 games are available to download as well. Hopefully at some point we can get the PS3 games in there as well. The outlying Final Fantasy VII compilation titles may be remade in some form with the FF7 remake. Let's hope for Crisis Core's inclusion in there, because that would be absolutely awesome, and unfortunately Square Enix has reported a huge $33 million loss. That's gonna conclude this video. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comments section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.